If you're creating content or thinking about starting, you need to hear this.
We probably invested around $40,000 to $50,000 in the production of her YouTube channel before she even saw her first client.
Wow. And that's a part that nobody talks about. Because if you stick through that phase, something starts to change.
And it brought me so many opportunities within the poker space. It brought me access to private games, and I would have just never had these opportunities if I would have never created that content.
But the real shift isn't just the opportunities. It's what happens to your content over time.
The videos that we made 3 years ago, now those videos are just on autopilot while we sleep. People are watching the content and it's bringing the rewards.
So, what do most people get wrong about content that keep them stuck at 200 views?
You are watching the Vegas Voices podcast.
Today's episode is about Vegas power couples and what happens when two ambitious creators build in public while building a relationship in private. OLGA Moreno helps people relocate to Las Vegas and navigate the market with calm clarity and strategy. Johnnie VIBES built a poker brand rooted in personality, risk, and discipline. Individually, they're strong. Together, they represent something very interesting about modern entrepreneurship in Vegas. This is a conversation about risk, relocation, brand building, and what it really takes to grow as a couple in a city built on bets. We have our first returning champion.
Oh, thanks for having me back. It was the first time around was fun, so
Yeah.
happy to be back.
Hey, and your brother won a tournament that day.
Yeah, so we did a podcast on your channel a couple months, maybe 4 months ago, and we filmed it in the morning so that afterwards my brother, who's a professional poker player, could go over to Aria and play in a tournament. He won that tournament.
Yeah.
So hey, good luck at your podcast.
Do we get a commission on that?
I think that was his first ever win at the Poker Go Studios. It's kind of like the Yankee Stadium of poker here in Las Vegas.
Heck yeah. And today you brought your beautiful wife, OLGA Moreno.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, that was like the first thing that we were going to do. You reached out probably a year ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
We met online and we were going to have you and,
Yeah, we originally reached out to you because we were referred to you for the paid advertisement space.
yeah.
And our background is more organic reach. So that's how we got connected. And now here we are doing organic stuff with you.
That's awesome.
I love how things evolve.
Cool. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, who made the first move?
So as with anything in life, there's a give and take here, 50-50. I would say that she gave me the look that she wanted me to approach her, and I met her halfway and approached her. So it was a little bit of both.
Okay, I want to hear your side.
Yes. Well, I laugh because it's just my personality where I'm pretty aggressive in a lot of ways, where when I want something, I go for it, but it's not the aggressive, not the traditional aggressive, but it's like I get what I want because I'm determined, but it's quiet determination. So I was quietly staring at him from across the table at the club until he finally noticed. And then, that gave him a permission to take it from there.
Yeah.
But the stare was, I was not breaking eye contact.
Yeah. I'm generally more on the introvert side, so I usually need that signal to break the ice.
Cool beans. So what was your first honest impression of each other?
So Olga was young. Olga was 23. I was 30. We met in Vegas. She was an out-of-towner. So I wouldn't say that I initially knew, oh, wow, she's going to be my wife. We're going to have a child together in 14 years from now. So to say that I knew right off the bat would definitely not be the truth. It was just good chemistry, good energy. And over time, like with any relationship, we kept in touch long distance and started to visit each other, and just built a relationship slowly to the point of where she ended up moving after a period of long distance relationship and kind of took it from there. It's been smooth sailing. I mean, a few ups and downs here and there, but mostly smooth sailing.
What was your first impression, Olga?
Well, my very first impression was that he was the big man around town here in Las Vegas because the table at the club was under his name. So when me and my best friend at the time, we came out here for a girls' weekend just to have fun, and the table was under his name. So I knew immediately, well, this guy is a big deal. So
I was definitely not a big deal.
that was definitely my first honest impression. But from when we started to chat and when we connected, I realized that he was just very easygoing. We had good chemistry, nice guy. I didn't have any like red flags, and we just hit it off pretty much from the very first moment, as weird as it sounds. And I knew that there was something there.
Yeah, there's a good personality match with you being an extrovert and myself being on the more introvert side. It just kind of worked better that way.
Yeah, but I also felt that he was responsible. He was a little bit more mature than a lot of the 23-year-old guys that I was surrounded with. So I liked that. He just felt like he was very kind and also really up for traveling the world and adventuring and listening to music. So we immediately had a lot in common, and I just felt like he was just genuinely a really good guy.
Yeah, there's a 7-year gap. So I was 30 when she was 23. So it was like good timing in my life to shift into more of like the relationship time period.
Yeah, and the other thing too I immediately noticed about him was he didn't mess around. Like he wanted what he wanted, and if I wasn't willing to be serious or commit, he let me know. And so I knew that he was also someone that had pretty strong morals and had boundaries. And I've never really experienced that because being a little bit younger, I was primarily coming out of college. I wasn't really meeting a lot of guys that were his kind of personality, where they were more serious about life.
Yeah, this guy's serious about life. I know that for sure. So who said I love you first?
It was me, but the reason why is I would go out. We were dating long distance at the beginning. I was living in Portland, Oregon, and he was here in Las Vegas. And I would go out with my friends, and I would have a few drinks, and I would walk home. And on that walk home, I would always tell him I loved him. And then the next morning, I would wake up, and he always asked me, "Do you remember what you said to me?" So I think I needed a little bit of liquid courage at the beginning, and he was a little bit cautious of that liquid courage.
Yeah.
But it was definitely me.
Wow. Wow. All right, Olga. So let's get into your life a little
I'm
bit.
definitely I like making the first move.
Yeah.
Good. That's amazing. So you went from PR to marketing into real estate. What made you start that?
So right out of college, I started going down the marketing public relations path. Really loved it. What I really loved about it was the creative aspect. There are so many different things that you can do when you are a public relations or a marketing professional, primarily working with entrepreneurs and their companies and finding ways to solve their problems of how to grow, of how to communicate better messaging, how to elevate their brands and their products. So I really loved the combination of the skill sets that I was bringing forth to those roles. And I will always worked with business owners directly, with CEOs, with founders. And I really found that aspect of the job really fascinating because I felt that everyone had their own unique story, and I loved finding ways to tell that story. And I always actually looked up to these individuals who went out on their own and chose to build something of their own. And I was always behind the scenes. I was always media training my clients. I was always preparing them for that big moment of when they went on camera or when they spoke with a reporter or when they launched a big product. And I think when I started to consider, okay, well, maybe there's something else for me beyond supporting all of these amazing individuals and their journeys. And maybe I could be the one that supports myself in my journey. So that's when I started to think, okay, well, if I were to do something different, what would it be? And so I started to deconstruct my skill sets and think of it as, what am I good at? What are my superpowers? And how can I pivot from one career that I've been in for 10 years at the time, 12 years, into something that would feel equally as rewarding, will be financially fruitful, and where I still get to use my skill sets and maybe bring that marketing and PR background that I have built for many years, because it felt as though I didn't want to just throw that away. So when I started thinking about real estate, I looked at it from the perspective of, okay, what is a career that is very people-oriented, relationship-oriented, that allows me to problem solve, because I like the process of problem solving and being creative while I problem solve. And what's also a career that will help me grow
Personal brand.
personally, professionally, allow me to build a personal brand, because I've always also really loved social media, but I've never found a way to build my own personal brand when I was in the public relations field, because I was building other people's brands.
Yeah.
So I looked for that perfect opportunity and that perfect mix of all of those things, and real estate just kept coming top of mind. And during the pandemic, I watched a ton of real estate YouTubers. I watched a ton of real estate shows. It almost felt like there were so many signs of, hey, you should consider real estate. And one of my really good friends here in Las Vegas, he has been in real estate for 20 years. So I just reached out to him and I said, hey, if I go down this path, would you be willing to mentor me? Because I really wanted to learn from someone who was really good at what they did. And he was actually our real estate agent prior to this. So I knew he was very good at what he did. And it's all history from there.
That's crazy.
At the time, we were actually shopping for homes on YouTube. And so we would, how much is it for a 4-bedroom, 3,000 square foot house in Summerlin? Let's see if we can find that on YouTube. So we would search it, and then we would notice that certain realtors would pop up on YouTube. And at the time, I was a YouTuber, and I told her, I was like, I can make this channel. Like, I can do a better job of this channel, or you're better on camera than this person. And so it was like a confidence boost of, if these people are doing so great on YouTube selling real estate, and you want to move into real estate, it feels like a natural fit that we just start with YouTube. And that's kind of another reason why you thought, let's give this real estate thing a shot.
Yeah, it was interesting when we were watching these channels. At first, he was watching the realtors because we wanted to purchase a home. We were in that phase of life where we were able to do so. And so when he was watching it from that angle, I was watching it from the angle of, I can do this. This could be fun. And I started to get really excited because this was something that I've never previously considered, but because he has had his poker YouTube channel and I've seen just everything that has come from that, so many positives, so many new relationships built, so many new opportunities, I started to get really excited about it. And having him in my corner was definitely such an amazing thing, because I'm not very technical. My superpowers are being with people, building relationships. I love being on camera. It comes really naturally to me. And I would always be, whenever he would make kind of like home videos, you could say, but just filming our trips and things like that. I always loved being on camera and where he was behind the scenes. And so I got really lucky that, I had him in my corner, and I had the technical side of that handled.
That's super cool. And then the channel focuses a lot on relocation to Vegas, right? Like people that want to move here.
Yeah, correct. So it's a living in Las Vegas channel. So I create content about life in Las Vegas. So everything from the top best neighborhoods to the pros and cons of living in Las Vegas to hidden gems around the valley that people might not know about. And YouTube is actually one of the largest search engines after Google. And now the way that people do their research before moving to a city is they go on YouTube and they type in living in Las Vegas or Las Vegas real estate or pros and cons of living in Las Vegas. So that's how people are consuming their content. And so it really connects those people with agents that are creating that content. And sometimes it's easier to, well, a lot of times it's easier to reach out to that agent versus the agent that is just a link in a Google search and a web page, because with me, people can tell, hey, this is her personality. This is the kind of information she provides. They are able to create more of an understanding of who I am versus just picking a random person out of the hat from a link on the internet.
It makes total sense. I mean, most of the things that I've bought lately that have been expensive things are from YouTube videos, literally.
Yeah, because you have an opportunity to get to know the person on the other side of the camera because of the long form content. You're sitting down with them for 20, 25, 30 minutes at a time. And by the end of that 30 minutes, the goal as a content creator is that you provided them an immense amount of value. And if you kind of just go in with that mindset of, I'm going to provide the most value that I can around this subject, hopefully they'll feel like they trust me and they want to invest in whatever my offer is or whatever I'm selling. For Olga, it's, I want to be your real estate agent. And after getting to know Olga through all of her videos and all of the value that she's shared, they call her up and they say, I want to work with you. It's not a real active sale on her part.
Correct.
Yeah. And what's really cool about that process is I actually end up working with so many people that I have so many things in common with, or people that already know that they like me and trust me. And so that first interaction is more of a, hey, we're so excited to move to Las Vegas. We're so excited for you to help us, because they've watched 50 of my YouTube videos. So they, understand the value that I can provide. And they also know, hey, we like her. Oh, we have some things in common. She has a son. She has dogs. She likes to travel. They can connect in that way. And so the people that I end up working with end up becoming my friends. And I've met so many wonderful people throughout this journey of being a real estate agent who creates YouTube content. So I feel super grateful for this vehicle that allows me to not only be creative, but also do my job and connect with amazing people and also help them on their journey of becoming homeowners here in Las Vegas.
You don't mind me asking what percentage of your clients come from your YouTube?
I would say 99.
Wow.
99%. She actually does no other form of marketing.
Wow.
And then 1% is referrals.
Wow.
Yeah, and I can attest to the fact that her clients end up becoming her friends. Like last night, it was her birthday yesterday, and we went out. We actually did the Vegas experience with our son. We sat at Alexa, which is right on the Strip, overlooking the fountains. We brought our son along with us. Then we walked over to Javier's to have chips, salsa, margarita. We still really love doing the Vegas things, even though like we have a child and we live in a house now off Strip. So yeah, we're at Javier's and she sends one of her clients a selfie with our son and a margarita because she knows that client also loves to go to Javier's and have a spicy margarita. So yeah, they definitely end up becoming our friends, her friends, and by proxy, my friends.
Wow. So now back to you, Johnny. Part of the story with you guys is that you were building a poker career while you guys were starting, right? How did you guys mentally survive that lifestyle?
I think one of the big things is when we first met, I was already heavily involved in that lifestyle. I was already playing poker for money, making a living playing poker here in Las Vegas. So when we met, she was kind of coming into my world and understanding like, this is how he makes money. This is the way that he lives his life. It wasn't, I had a job in corporate America. We met 5 years into my career. I'm like, hey, honey, I think I'm going to go try to gamble for a living. I think that'd be a tough sell for anyone, you know? So luckily for me, she came in with an open mind that this could be a career. And even though she didn't understand it at first, she was open-minded to it. And there was definitely some bumps along the way with understanding it. For example, we were living in Southern California at this time because I was playing at this one particular casino day in and day out. And inevitably in poker, you're going to go on downswings here and there. And I would always be afraid to tell her about losses and downswings because she's not from that world and she doesn't really understand it. And she would get emotionally tied to the losses. And in my mind, I wouldn't, because I knew that this wasn't going to affect my lifestyle. I was going to be able to win eventually anyways. But you still feel a certain way about it that you want to kind of vent to your partner. Say, oh, I had a rough day today. But I really couldn't do that with her. I couldn't come home and tell her I had a bad day today, because then that would make her have a bad day. But slowly, she started to, just through like communication and working through it, she realized that, number one, if I'm losing, it's not really going to change anything. I have such a track record that I'm going to be able to get things back on track. And number two, I learned that I don't need to bring my work home and bring that energy into our house, because inevitably I'm going to have losses. And my goal is to come home and she actually has no idea if I won and no idea if I lost, because my energy and the way that I'm being towards our relationship is not dependent on how my workday went. And we made it to that point. It took some time, but I would say within the first 3 or 4 years, we were to the point of where my ups and downs in poker weren't really affecting anything in our personal relationship.
Wow, and he was establishing the boundaries from the beginning, which is what you were saying, right? Those were kind of his boundaries. So what is your perspective on this question?
So he's right. I, at the very beginning, was very emotional about the process of him winning and losing. So I would get really sad if he lost 5,000 in one night, and I would get very excited if he won the same amount the next day, because at the time I was working a regular 9-to-5 job. One of my first jobs, where for me, that was my paycheck for the month. So to understand what it was like to lose that in a matter of hours was really challenging for me at the beginning, because I have never experienced the poker world, obviously, and I didn't fully understand that it is this ups and downs and you can't get on the roller coaster. Yeah. And I would get on the roller coaster. And so it took a while to understand that it was not beneficial for me to be on the roller coaster for me, for him, for our relationship, because it definitely would cause these moments of him sharing with me and then regretting that he shared with me, and then me making it even worse for him and me. So it was a lot of trial and error of, well, how do we navigate this? Because I still wanted him to tell me when he was having a rough time, but not get on the roller coaster and be more upset than he is, because that's what was happening at the beginning. So it took some time to truly understand how to best navigate that, where I could still support him and know, okay, he had a bad day, but we got to a point where he would come home. I knew he was down. I would know that he was down, but instead of getting upset, we would go do something fun, or we would just carry on with our day. Or it was like we pivoted in the way that we handled that, because of the few times that didn't really work. So we just learned from what wasn't working, and we try to create different ways of navigating that. But it took a little bit, just like with anything. And I was also just a few years into us dating. So now that we've been together for 15 years, I understand the inner workings of poker, and I also understand the inner workings of how he operates, and I've seen things play out in a way where I can trust him, where before I just didn't have any evidence that, oh, okay, it's going to be okay, even though he was saying it's going to be okay. But now I've seen it time and time again that it's going to be okay. So it's taught me a lot it's taught me a lot as far as trusting in the fact that things are going to work out, even if they're not working out in that moment. And it helps me navigate different situations now in my work. I feel like I've become a lot more emotionally steady instead of
learning from him.
learning from him. I instead of being reactive. And of course, I think women and men are very different. And in that sense, I think women are meant to be more emotional. And, maybe women who are in the poker world can handle the roller coaster a little better than women who are not. But it's definitely taught me to just have trust in the fact that things are going to work out and not let little things derail my day, my week, because things are going to happen all the time. Even this week, we had a number of things that came up that could potentially feel very heavy and stressful, but we've looked at it from the fact of, okay, this is happening. We're going to figure it out. We're not going to let this ruin our day, our week, and we're just going to keep moving forward and coming up with solutions on how we're going to navigate these things. And I feel very proud of myself because I think I've worked really hard on that aspect. And one thing that is really helpful in this skill is being in real estate. A real estate transaction has so many different things that could go wrong, and most of the time, something will always go wrong.
It's like poker.
Exactly. And so for me, I'm that steady and I'm that calm to my clients because it's, for a lot of people, one of the biggest purchases that they'll make in their life. And for some people, it's just a very stressful experience, the whole thing, even though it might not necessarily be stressful to someone else. But when you're in it, it's just naturally more stressful. So it's also taught me to be that calm and that steady for my clients. And I think that that's one thing that makes me really good at what I do, is I'm able to really be that steady and that calm for my clients, sometimes in the middle of a storm.
Wow. It's crazy. It's crazy how much poker, because poker was a massive part of my life for over 10 years. It's still a part of my life, but more recently we've been like on the content creation, business building side of things, but we're always talking about how something in our business life or something in life, I'm always relating it to poker, like all the time. I'm always telling her this is it kind of feels like in poker, this XYZ situation. Poker is the most insane metaphor for life. And I've applied it to business. I've applied it to relationships. It's kind of I feel like a cheat code. If you can become a winning poker player, all the skills that are involved with that, becoming the winning poker player, just translate over to every aspect of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, where are you in your poker career right now? So up, or you
Yeah, so
take a break?
I haven't been playing much lately. We just had our first child in September. And since that point, I actually have not played a hand of tournament poker, cash game poker. I've been helping Olga with her business because I see so much potential of where she can go to. Within the first 2 years of her being a real estate agent, she became a top 1% real estate agent in Las Vegas. And I know that if I just go and help her build the back end of that business, help her create even more content, that she can elevate into the top 0.5% and we can build a massive business. And the economics of poker are shrinking every year. The value of the dollar, inflation happens. The size of the poker games gets smaller every year. The level of competition goes up every year. So when you have these converging factors, it makes it harder, even for established professional poker players, to make more money than they made the previous year. And for me to make more money than I was making 2 years ago, I would have to spend 50, 60 hours at a poker table. And at this point in my life, with all the things that we have cooking with Olga's business, I know that if I just work from home and invest in that I don't have to spend those hours at the poker table when my son is 6 months old, 1 month, 1 year old. I get to be at home and not slaving away at a poker table. It just feels like a natural thing for me to start playing less poker now.
Johnny, let me acknowledge that. That's a fantastic pivot.
Thanks.
Wow. So let's bring the city into the conversation. Why Vegas? What does this city offer that other cities don't for you guys?
Well, to start, this is the place where we met. We have always had ties to Las Vegas for obvious reasons with Johnny's poker career. This is where poker is majorly in the United States. Of course, there's a couple other hubs, but this is where so much has happened for him. And so we have always, even when we lived in Southern California for a couple of years, we would always come back to Vegas. We always had a home base here. We have always had a big group of friends, a big poker community. And it being the place where we met, we actually have always had just a very special place in our hearts for Las Vegas.
Also, your original real estate mentor was here.
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, we have a lot of friends, and one of them is my mentor and was our real estate agent until I took over as being our own real estate agent. But when I was considering going into real estate, I wanted to learn from someone, as I mentioned, who was really good at what they did. And my mentor has done real estate here in Las Vegas for 20 years. So who better to connect with than someone who knows really how it's done here? And at the time, we had bought our first condo here, or not our first condo, but we bought our second condo here, first high-rise condo. And we were just really enjoying time here. And when I spoke with him about Las Vegas real estate, this was 2022. So at that time, the Las Vegas market was super hot. So many people were moving to Las Vegas from California, other parts of the country. So there was just a ton going on here. I know Las Vegas. I've been here for so many years, so I know the valley really well. It feels like even though I'm not from Las Vegas, it feels like home now. And so there's so many things I love about Las Vegas, and I love talking about Las Vegas to people. So everything just fell into place naturally, with Las Vegas really being the place for us to grow the real estate business. And the way that I actually look at it is it's our business. I know Johnny always says it's Olga's business, but without him, I would not be able to do what I do. So it's really fun to have him be the second part, the behind the scenes part that a lot of people don't know is there. That makes me look really good.
It's pretty clear that she's the customer facing, client facing person. She's buttoned up. And I'm the guy with the hoodie and the hat behind the scenes, that doesn't have to talk to the clients.
It's perfect.
It works. It just works for our personality. But beyond that, I feel like we have both been throughout our whole lives. Olga was born in Russia. I moved around a lot as a kid. My dad was in the army. I never went to the same school for more than 2 years. We kind of have this adventure inside of us, and we've been so many places. We've lived in... These are short stints, but we've tried out Southern California. We went to Miami for a couple months. We've kind of been around. And for us, Vegas has always kind of felt like the place where it kind of meets us where we are with our adventurous spirit. We actually do partake in coming to the Strip a lot. And we're not the typical Vegas residents that stay out in their suburb and never go to... Everybody's like, oh, locals never go to the Strip. No, actually, we go to the Strip a lot. We were there last night. So I think Vegas matches our adventurous spirit, and it kind of always feels like a home base. But yeah, Vegas has one of the best airports. So we love the fact that there's nonstop flights everywhere. So if we have to pick a home base, no state income tax in Vegas. Vegas just felt like kind of one of the best places for us.
Yeah, we love being in Vegas, and it also allows us to be pretty central to if we want to go to California. We're only an hour away. We're a couple hours away from Texas, where our family lives. My family is in Oregon, so that's an hour and a half away. So we have friends in Arizona. So we're we're pretty much in the center of it all. So every which way we want to travel, we're pretty close. If we want to go to the beach for the weekend, we're 5 hours away. But I think that the Las Vegas lifestyle and the community that we have here, and also just the opportunity that is here with so many people moving to Las Vegas, there's just a lot happening. There's so much being built here with the sports teams that are here. It's the city is completely transforming. So it's really fun to also be a part of that change. Whereas when I first started coming here in 2012, it was just, mostly casinos and nightclubs and really all about the Strip. Whereas now it's becoming a completely different city.
And then there's this talk that Vegas is dead. Like, what do you guys think about that? Is it?
No,
like Vegas
I honestly
on
don't
YouTube
think
is-
that. Yeah, I don't think Vegas is dying, quote unquote. I think that the value proposition of Vegas is just shifting a little bit.
Right.
It's not 100% reliant on the tourists and the Strip. And obviously, these strips, they're massive businesses. So if they see a 7% drop in clientele visiting their casinos, they're not just going to sit idly on their hands and take it. They're big businesses. They're going to try to figure out how to attract people to come to Las Vegas. So I think over the past year with some of the things going on in the political climate and the way the Canadians are viewing Americans and, Canadians not traveling here as much and just the whole thing with immigration, Europeans coming to Vegas and everything, I think it's going to shift and Vegas will adapt. And we have so many other offerings besides, the Strip. We have all of our sports teams. We have college football national championship. So just like so many things that make Vegas such a great place that there will be some ebbs and flows, but Vegas is not going to die.
Yeah, Vegas always comes back. I've been here 20 years and I've seen so many ebbs and flows, like you said. But before we didn't have, like 15 years ago, there weren't all the things that we have right now.
Well, what's interesting about Vegas, when I started coming here, and one of the reasons why I took that very first trip, Vegas has so much fun to offer, but also it was really cheap. I took a $100 flight round trip. We had a $100 a night hotel room, me and my friend. It was cheap to eat and drink here. And that was 15 years ago.
You don't see that anymore.
So you don't see that anywhere. The cost of living and the cost of things has increased. And, Vegas has, because it has so much to offer and because these hotels here, like the Wynn or the Bellagio or Aria, they're so nice. It's just things have shifted. And that's, I think, the big complaint for people online. They're saying, well, Vegas is unaffordable, but look at Miami. Look at other places in the country. Everything has gotten more expensive, especially the cities that have a lot going on. So Vegas is a city that has a lot going on for it. There's so much growth happening. There's so many people that are coming here that want to be here. And naturally, the cost of things does go up. But also, as far as the cost of living and the lifestyle, it's still so great compared to some of the more expensive cities like Seattle, San Francisco, where it's basically people are saying it's unaffordable for me to live here and the weather sucks and the traffic is, unbearable and all of this, all of these reasons why people are coming here. So Vegas is actually it's low key, just has such a great lifestyle. Cost of living is still significantly lower. And of course, yes, the Strip is more expensive than what the prices off Strip.
But I actually like that we have the options.
But it's so nice to be able to go to
the Sphere and see like a world-class show. Like this is like one of the 7 wonders of the world. There's nowhere else in the world that you're going to go and have a sensory experience that you would have at the Sphere. And I live 9 minutes from there. It's insane.
Yeah, I think the expectation that things are going to remain cheap and, be the prices that they were 15 years ago is just unrealistic. And the people that maybe were coming to Vegas for those reasons will probably go elsewhere. But there's also, I think, going to be a lot of new people that are coming here for the amazing experiences that are available here. The restaurants, the nightclubs, the shows, the hiking at Red Rock, the sports that are going to be totally fine with the prices. And I think Vegas is, yes, maybe there has been a slowdown in tourism, but there's been so much growth in other parts of Vegas that, a lot of it is the kind of those buzzworthy media headlines, but certainly
From everything that I've seen too, the off strip properties like the Durango and the Red Rock, they're all doing fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Cool. So, as content creators, as career builders, as parents, what are your current goals? Where are you guys going?
One of the things that I've kind of come to realize, and it happened by accident, it happened when I uploaded my first YouTube, we call them YouTube vlogs, poker vlogs. I actually realized through that, and then through Olga creating her content, and now I have 4 channels that I'm managing. Everything that's kind of financially became so fruitful in our life stemmed from us creating content. I was creating content on poker, and it brought me so many opportunities within the poker space. It brought me access to private games. It got me invited to play on some of the coolest high-stake poker streams. And I would have just never had these opportunities if I would have never created that content. Olga, the way that she's been able to explode her career in a short amount of time, it all came because of her creating long-form content. So for me going forwards, because I'm good at that and because I actually like doing it, I'm just going to lean into my skill set in creating long-form content, not exactly knowing how it's going to bring me financial success, but just knowing that based on previous history, if I make good long-form content, it will pay back dividends in my life, even if I don't know how it's going to pay me back.
Yeah, I think that building a personal brand around whatever you're doing is such a hack to faster growth. Being what someone would consider a newer agent, now I'm in my 3rd year, so I'm not quite so new.
And you're in the top 1%.
And I'm in the top 1%. But the reason why I was able to get here so fast is because of my YouTube channel and because of my personal brand. And I have a lot of business background. I consider myself a high-performing professional, no matter what industry I'm in. So, of course, that is a really big part of it. And I think my skill set really goes nicely with the real estate profession. But leaning into creating content and leaning into building my personal brand, continuing to build it, is definitely the long-term goal. We, at this point, through trial and error and learning so much between his channel and my channel and how things work within real estate and other industries, we've almost like we figured out the secret sauce.
Yeah. But I think the secret sauce, for anyone that's wondering what that secret sauce is, you have to create value. Like so much value that the person watching it is thankful for your video. Like they're watching it. A lot of times when people are creating content, it's selfish. They're like, oh, I want to tell this story and it's about me. But my channel, when I started with the poker channel, it was, I'm just going to show everyone exactly how a seasoned long-term poker professional thinks about the game, how they make their decisions, so that when they're done watching the video, they're so grateful that a professional shared something that a lot of people would consider a trade secret. For Olga, she had to do so much research about every neighborhood. So even though she's only been creating content for over nearly 3 years now about Las Vegas, the amount of research that she has put in so that she makes sure that she provides value to the viewer is so much that she's like a walking Las Vegas encyclopedia now. She knows everything about Las Vegas. But the point is that she created so much value for the people that were considering moving to Las Vegas that now they feel like they want to work with her. Whatever you're thinking about making content about, if you know that you can provide so much value around that thing, number one, create the value, share the value. Number two, you have to make a great video. And that's not so easy to do either. You know, there's the packaging of the video. How do you hook the viewer in the first 15 seconds so they don't click away from the video? How do you even get them to click on that video? Because there's a sea of other videos that they can click on. They need to look at that thumbnail, look at that title, see that it's 17 minutes long, and from their brain make a judgment call. This is going to be a valuable video for me. When they click in, there's a little bit of curiosity. They start watching the video. If in the first 15 seconds, they haven't been hooked or they feel like the value isn't there, they're going to click off of your video and they're going to go on to someone else who they deem is going to give them more value. So I can say create the value for them, but it's so much more involved in that, where you really have to nail the packaging of your video, which is the hook, the title, the idea, the hook, the title, the thumbnail all have to work in conjunction with each other to first of all create that curiosity gap where they have to click into the video to satisfy that curiosity. And then within the first 15 seconds, they're like, okay, this is a good video. It's high quality. I'm going to get value. I'm going to continue watching. And if that were easy, if everything that I said was easy, everybody would be doing it.
We just got a big masterclass there by a master content creator.
YouTube it's hard.
There it is.
But if you break it down and you learn all the pieces that make it hard, and you execute on all of those pieces correctly, it becomes easy. And it becomes, there's a secret sauce, but once you figure out what the secret sauce is, you're gonna be cooking.
Yeah, and the value for the content creator is also compounding. So when you start building up your channel, maybe you don't get a lot of views at first, but you know that if you're creating good videos and you're creating a lot of value for the viewer, the YouTube algorithm it's so smart. It's gonna recognize what is a high value video
For the right value, for the right person.
for the right person, and it's gonna start serving them eventually. And then once you start earning that trust, then you're gonna start getting return viewers. And when you get those return viewers, YouTube's gonna be like, okay, people are liking this content, they're gonna start pushing it. So
Yeah.
it is one of those things when you're first starting out, it's really tough because sometimes it takes a little bit for your high value video to get noticed.
Oh, tell me about it.
But if we're talking about comparing long form versus short form, I think short form is immensely harder because now you only have 5 seconds to prove that you can provide a lot of value. And that's in short form, where there's so much competition. At least with long form, you have so much more time and less competition to create that value for someone. So I personally know how to create a high value long form video, but I don't really I can create a high value short form video, but I don't know how to distinguish it from the other high value short form videos to make it stand out and go viral consistently over time. So that's why I'm just leaning into the long form.
Well, thank you for that masterclass.
What's cool about YouTube too
Yes.
is the person who is clicking on your video that sees it's a 17-minute long video, they're mentally prepared
They already know.
for that 17 minutes. If it's someone that's scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, they're mentally prepared for 5 seconds, and then they're swiping and they're swiping and they're swiping. So you also, as the person on camera, you get to connect with your viewer for such a long period of time. And that's where that trust is also built. That's where they get to know you. They get to trust you. They feel like they know you. So a lot of times when I get calls from people who are watching my channel who decide that I would be a good fit for them to be their real estate agent here in Las Vegas, they call and they say, oh my gosh, I feel like I already know you. And that is pretty hard to establish from a TikTok video or an Instagram video. So that's a huge reason why we're continuing to lean into YouTube, and why I actually tell other agents who are considering YouTube, who are currently making TikToks and Instagram videos, I tell them, well, this is the value. You get so much more of the person's time. You get to show your value, and you get to tell your story and tell them who you are. And once people understand that, everyone wants to do YouTube. However, then you have to really figure out the process. So one thing that speaking of long-term goals, one thing that we have also discussed is providing maybe a boutique service for select agents who are wanting to learn how to do this. And we don't have anything really built out yet, but that's something that, because of me being in real estate and because of all of his skills and all and all of that combined, and me doing this for the past 3 years, we can help other people achieve their goals and, get to where they want to faster.
That's a very cool idea. I think not everybody has a grit to stick to it.
Yeah.
We've seen it through this podcast. Like when we started, there were 5 or 6 people doing the same concept. Nobody stuck. We've stuck through it. But yeah, it takes a lot of grit.
Yeah, I mean, Olga was uploading on YouTube for probably 5 months before she got her first client. And when you look at the level of quality and the level of research and the level of editing that we were putting in, we probably invested around $40,000 to $50,000 in the production of her YouTube channel before she even saw her first client.
Wow.
And now that we're 2.5 years deep, we're able to reduce those expenses a little bit. So we're not spending quite as much because we brought some stuff in-house. And now she gets 3 to 4 clients per week calling her. And
Just on automatic.
And the videos that were, because now they've earned the trust, it takes a while to earn the trust. For Olga's specific type of content, they're going to need to watch at least 5 to 15 of her videos to really get to know her personality and build that trust. So yeah, it's one of those things where you're 3 months in, you spent 30 grand, you're on YouTube, you haven't seen the views, you haven't gotten the client. I can see why a lot of people give up, but I because I've done it in the past, I knew that we should just stick it out, keep going, and it'll eventually work out.
What's cool is now the videos that we made 3 years ago are still in the algorithm, and people are still watching those videos and they're calling from those videos. So while it took some time to build and to get that first call, now those videos are just on autopilot while we sleep. People are watching the content and it's bringing the rewards that we were, knowing that these videos are going to bring at the beginning.
So has being together in this journey made you more ambitious or more balanced?
I think that having Olga in my life, her personality helps light a fire inside of me. When I see her achieving big things, I am so excited for her, and it makes me want to work even harder and achieve even bigger things for myself. So I think that it's just the energy of our relationship. It's I never really feel like satisfied with like where we're at, and I'm always trying to like build something bigger.
Well, I think it's such a great question because I think we have the perfect blend of ambition and balance, and he brings the balance for sure, because I sometimes can be the overworking, doing things in excess and not really giving myself the space to go on a trip or go work out, or because the ambition sometimes takes over, and he's the voice of reason where he reminds me what's important in life, and that taking time for a trip somewhere for a week is totally fine, and to take the evening off to go do things with the family or go to a workout. So it's nice because I think that I bring that the high level of ambition, but he also teaches me how to be balanced, and vice versa too. So those are really great great things that we bring together into our relationship and into our working relationship.
Low key, and this is something that I don't think a lot of people think about, and it's something that I never thought about. But when I was creating poker content, and I would be at a gas station here in Las Vegas, and somebody would come up to me and tell me that they loved my poker channel, this would happen weekly in Vegas. Like, no, I couldn't go anywhere without someone stopping me and telling me that they love my content. That actually fuels an inner passion. Or when people reach out on Instagram saying that I make the best videos in the space, I'm like, okay, I need to keep that up because there's people watching. And when you actually go into the YouTube analytics, because you're uploading and kind of forgetting about it, and at the peak, I was uploading maybe a video a week that would get like 80 to 100,000 views. When you think about getting 150,000 views in a week, that's actually like 2 football stadiums full of people that are watching your content on a weekly basis. There's people in all these other countries. Somebody ordered a hoodie from Mozambique and South Korea, and like all of these things, when they reach out to me and tell me that they're excited about meeting me or the content or what it meant to them, it actually creates like, there's some like primal animalistic thing inside of us that's like, okay, I got to keep doing this thing because people are liking it. And for the longest time, Olga was like my cheerleader in that. Everywhere we would go, people would come up to me and talk to me about how they love my content.
Yeah, they would be like, hey, can you take a picture of me and Johnnie Vibes? You know, I would be like, yes, absolutely.
And then I stopped uploading content like consistently maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I still upload from time to time here and there to satisfy that creative itch and kind of work on my craft a little bit with content creation, long form video building. But now she's kind of taken over. So like we're at a charging station and somebody's coming up to her and they're like, oh, I watch your videos. Can you take a picture? And so it's fun for me to be on the other side of that now for her.
It's for Olga.
Yeah, it's been really fun. It's
And you got to admit, when somebody reaches out to you and tells you like you make the best videos, or somebody runs into you at Costco and wants to take a photo with you, you got to admit that makes you want to like work even harder and make even more videos.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that there's something about when you're just looking at the YouTube video and you're looking at the numbers, it doesn't register as much as if you see someone in person and they say, oh my God, I watched your YouTube videos before I moved out here and they were so helpful. It helped us find our perfect home in Henderson. Even if they don't reach out to me, it makes me feel good that what I put out there was a really valuable resource for someone creating this amazing new chapter in their life. So I love those in-person interactions, and I'm looking forward to more of that because it truly does make me feel good, and it does make me want to create more and more to help more people and to connect with more people.
It's like you realize that you're really having an impact, and it feels so good. Yes.
Exactly.
So let's go into a rapid fire round here.
Okay.
So who spends more?
Probably me.
No way.
I will say it's because he buys a lot of cameras,
Expensive stuff.
Okay.
a lot of expensive things.
They're assets, right? You're using it for.
Yeah. I mean, I tell myself that.
I'm a more active, like Amazon, Aloe, Lululemon shopper for sure.
Yeah, she buys more in quantity. I buy more in dollar value.
Gotcha. Who apologizes first?
I would say me for sure.
Yeah, I could be a little bit stubborn, but once he says sorry, I'm like, all right, we're good.
Awesome. Who is?
I'm actually, I feel like I'm actually usually wrong, which is kind of crazy because I always feel like I'm right. So I feel like it's warranted that I should apologize first.
Makes sense.
Not always.
Happy life, happy wife.
That's right.
Happy wife, happy life.
I'm definitely more stubborn than him.
Yes.
So he knows that. And I think sometimes he probably will apologize knowing that if he does, we're just going to literally move forward from whatever it is. But yeah, and I appreciate that.
Okay, who's more competitive?
I would say me.
Yeah, for sure, Olga. Olga's more competitive, which is kind of crazy to say considering I've made the bulk of my career in a competitive field. I think that's actually one of the things that's held me back in tournaments a little bit. And why my skill set was more geared towards cash games was because of like, I don't know, I just felt like the competitiveness doesn't matter as much in cash games as it does in tournaments.
But I will say it does matter for him when we're playing tennis or pickleball because he hardly ever lets me win.
Yeah, I played just good enough to where she thinks that she has a chance to win. And then at the end, when she doesn't win, she's very upset.
Oh my God.
Steaming. Well, it's a little tough when like you could never win, but you think you're going to win all the time and you just never get there.
Hey, he's got to get his itch somewhere, right?
Yeah, he's like, he just picked that to be competitive in.
All right. Who would win in a negotiation?
I would say
Oh.
probably Olga now because you just been practicing that so much more in the past couple of years with all of your real estate deals. I definitely taught you though. I taught you to get where you're at. I remember your very first real estate deal. The very first real estate deal. She was so excited because her client really wanted the house. So she called the agent. She's like, you could tell that she was excited with the other agent. And when she got off the phone, I was like, Olga, you don't want to tip your hand. You don't want the other agent to know that your client is excited about this property. So that actually sent her down a whole rabbit hole of, okay, I need to get good at this other part of real estate, because she had gotten good. She had became proficient at everything about Vegas, everything about the real estate process. And she's like, at that point, she realized, okay, I need to really work on my negotiation skills. So she's been practicing for like 3 years now. So I think she's got it.
I would say actually you are probably better at negotiating. I've definitely improved my craft. I've read some negotiation books, Chris Voss, one of my favorites. But I remember distinctly one time when you negotiated on our current office and you were playing hardball, and he walked away from an office that we really wanted. And when he said that and he hung up, I was standing right next to him and my jaw dropped.
Well, where are we going to go now?
Oh my God. And then we got a call 3 minutes later from the listing agent saying, okay, we'll give you what you wanted. And I was blown away. I got chills because he was such a shark in that moment. So it actually, I think after that moment, I started to understand that that's what you have to do. And you basically have to approach every situation like you're not afraid to walk away. And while my clients now don't ever plan on walking away, the way that I negotiate with agents is that there are many other properties that my clients are looking at. This is just one of them. So I've definitely been sharpening my negotiation skills, but it's because of him for sure.
Well, that was a little bit longer than a rapid fire. Sorry. So what advice would you give ambitious couples that are trying to grow together?
It's tough because it's really hard to mix business with your personal life, because since we both are like working for ourselves, we never really turn it off. You know, dinner time, it's like strategizing. Laying in bed, it's like, what meetings do you have tomorrow? And trying to solve like all the issues that came up. I don't know if I have a good recommendation other than communication and like trying to keep work and personal life separated as much as you can.
Yeah, I think that's really great. When you work with someone, anyone, not even when it's not your partner, you're going to have conflict. And so I think it's important to distinguish that. If you're working together and you're having some level of conflict, it doesn't mean that your relationship is having conflict. It means that you are trying to navigate something in a work setting. And when we first started working together, we definitely saw that we had our working styles were different, and there was some frustration there. But as soon as the camera would be off and we would be out of that work zone, we would just go back into being a normal couple and, talking about where are we going to dinner. And
I think I do have one tactical piece of advice that I can give people, and that's when you can afford it, get a separate work phone. Because when you have all of your work stuff on your personal phone as well, you basically can never escape work. And if you have a work phone, you can actually put your work phone away and still have your personal phone. And it allows some level of separation. I know that was big for you with your real estate stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're trying to say the same thing, but also just separating the two and making sure that your relationship is your relationship and that your work is your work, and that you don't commingle the feelings of the two. I think it's natural that you're going to commingle work and life just being all one, but I think the feeling and the emotion of whether it's frustration or something that's in the work world, not necessarily bringing it into the relationship. And also too, if you're maybe going through something in your personal life, making sure that you're able to understand how to set that aside and still continue with your business, because that could also derail what you're working on the professional side. But
Absolutely.
Of course, easier said than done. But I think with practice, it becomes easier for sure.
It seems that you guys are very practiced, actually. So,
Well, we've been together for 15 years. It's amazing. Close to it. So we've had time to practice. I mean, it's one of the reasons why we waited so long to even have our first child. 14 years into our relationship. It's like we we knew we're solid. Like we've navigated so many things in life. I think we're ready for a child now.
We got 2 dogs, so we practiced on dogs first just to make sure we could do it. Well, we got 1, and we got another one. Yeah. So by the time the baby came, we basically knew what our roles were going to look like and how we would parent. And it's actually been exactly what we anticipated. So it's been really fun. Having a kid is definitely like, it's like having a business, but on steroids, because you're also not sleeping at night and you're doing all these crazy things that you've never done before. But I think everything we've done up until this point, personally and professionally, has truly prepared us for where we're at now.
So I have the last question, and I think where this is going, but I'll let you guys take it. What is the only thing that you protect, no matter how busy life gets?
This one's been a struggle for me, because I realized that one of the unlocks, one of the hacks to building a great parasocial relationship with the audience is to be vulnerable and to share your personal life. And when you do that, it's a fast ticket to building an audience that actually cares about you and wants you to succeed. But lately, I've been way more protective of posting photos of our child online, even like sharing anything that's personal. I don't know. I think the longer that you are in the public eye, the more you become jaded to people saying negative things about your family or your child or anything like that. So that's one of the reasons I haven't been uploading on my Johnnie Vibes channel quite as much. Is I've just become more of a private person as I've gotten older, and as I've experienced the life cycle of being someone in the public eye.
I would say that for me, the thing that we protect the most is our relationship. Like, we are a solid unit in our personal and professional. So even if there are challenges with us, which are very minimal, I will say we don't really have many fights or anything like that, but we always protect our unit. So there's never like, oh, we're saying anything bad about each other and like letting other people into whatever, maybe a challenge we're navigating. And like I said, there really isn't much, but I feel like we've always done a really good job of protecting the unit that we have together.
Yeah. But for the most part, we've been an open book. Like you share on social media so much.
Yeah, I do think that I have become, now that I have a personal brand, I have become more open and more vulnerable. And, I do actually tend to share a lot more photos of our baby and what I'm doing. And I find that for me, people really, that's how people connect with me, is those daily moments. And I actually have so many clients that will DM me on Instagram and say, happy birthday, or, oh my gosh, your baby's so cute. And I think that actually gives them just another level of connection with me. So when they see me in person, we have more things to talk about. They want to ask me more questions. They feel like they know me a little bit better from the social media aspect of it.
Guys, and how do people find out more about you, your personal brands, your projects, what's going on?
What's nice is that you can just type in Olga Moreno, or you could actually probably just type in Olga Las Vegas. And at this point, she's built up such a library of videos. Google SEO will take care of finding her, but it's Olga Moreno Las Vegas in Google. And then for myself, you can just type in Johnnie Vibes. Doesn't matter how you spell it, I'll show up.
Yeah. And I post a lot on my Instagram, like I said, and it's olga.moreno_. I post a ton of nuggets about real estate, about life in Las Vegas, my health journey, my travels. So if someone really wants to get to know me on a personal level, definitely follow me on Instagram. And then my YouTube channel is actually really fun. It's, even if you're not someone who wants to live in Las Vegas, I still make my content super entertaining and interesting. So I think Las Vegas tends to be a fun fun place for people to know a little bit more about, even if they're not planning to move here. So definitely check out my YouTube channel.
All right. Guys, I'm very honored that you were here. I'm taking a lot away of this from this interview, and I think our audience will take a lot of little good things out of it. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.